Hey, it's Marko here from Fair Realty. So today I'm talking about capping rents or rent control, whatever you want to call it. It's very big in the media right now in BC. Tenancy advocacy groups are really worried that the provincial government, based on their inflation calculations, is going to allow yearly rent increases somewhere between 5 and 6%, and they feel like tenants won't be able to handle this. First of all, I'm not a huge fan of any sort of rent control. My previous career was in healthcare. I have a bachelor's in health science, a master's in healthcare administration. And when I used to work in ICU and we would have to, let's say, ventilate a patient that had pneumonia and it was life or death, to facilitate the best treatment, guess what we would do? We would go read studies, we would see the outcomes of those studies and apply the knowledge from those studies to our practice in the intensive care unit. If you read a lot of studies, you'll see that rent controls, caps on rent simply do not work. They do not improve affordability of housing. And it seems like in our society today, people just don't want to read and apply common logic. So I could talk about this for 2 hours, hundreds of comments online about this. The one thing I'll focus in on, because I want to make a short video, is a lot of people are commenting on Reddit and Facebook that there should be a cap in between tenants. So people are frustrated because a tenant might move out, he or she was paying $1,000 and the landlord puts it up for $1,500 market value and rents it out. And people think there should be a cap, let's say 10%. Your tenant moves out at $1,000 a month, you can only increase it for $1,100 a month. Sounds good in theory, absolutely horrible idea. I'll give you my real life story here. So personally, of all the rental properties I own, I have never ever given any of my tenants a yearly rent increase. If you're a previous tenant, current tenant, or you know someone that's a tenant of mine that I've given a rent increase, feel free to comment in the comment section, but I've never done that in my entire life. My philosophy is you move in, I rent you the unit for, let's say, $1,000. If you're a good tenant, you don't cause me problems, I'm not going to increase your rent because I'm not looking to squeeze out every single dollar out of my tenants. For me, my rental properties are a retirement plan. Once again, not looking to squeeze out every single dollar. So I had a tenant, let's call him Bob. He rented one of my condos downtown Victoria for $1,075 in 2011. He moved out last year in 2021. His rent was still $1,075. Why? Because Bob was an excellent tenant. I only had to go to that unit once to deal with a broken refrigerator. When Bob moved out, I re-rented that unit for $1,500. Guess what? If I was capped on the increase I could do in between tenants, while I feel like I'm a very reasonable landlord, I'm not stupid. If I was capped on the increase in between tenants, I would have given Bob the maximum allowable rent increase every single year, because I would have known when Bob moved out last year that I would not be able to correct to market value. So starting in 2012, bam, if the max for that year was 3-4%, I would have given Bob that increase every single year so that when I went to re-rent it last year, I could be close to market value. Would this benefit Bob, the great tenant? Absolutely not, because he had fixed rent for 10 years versus an increase every year. Would it have benefited me? Not in my opinion. I might have generated a bit more revenue, but who knows? Maybe in 2016, 2017, Bob gets annoyed if my rent increases, moves out, and then I have to find a new tenant, which creates for inefficiency. So this theoretical example of let's cap rents in between tenants just makes no real world practical sense. It would actually penalize good tenants. It would penalize landlords. Once again, a lot of these theories coming out that people are pitching are just complete nonsense, in my opinion. Let the market do what it wants to do and simply build more. That's it for this week. Marko, Juras, Fair Realty.